It added life into parks as well as the greenways. You just walk around it, walk next to a creek and listen to the water. It gives you the relaxation that you needed. It's a life. We're putting life into these parks.
Many of our streams are known to be impaired for either sediment and or bacteria. And as you get more development in a watershed, you end up having flashier or quicker runoff that causes more and more stream erosion. And that stream erosion falls into the creek and covers up the bed of the stream and smothers out some of the microinvertebrate, the insects that live at the bottom of the creek, and those impact the food that's available for fish. So through this program, we try to go to some of the streams that are most heavily impacted, and we try to do work to limit some of that erosion to try to improve the habitat for aquatic creatures.
We are standing here at Good Park. This is one of the several projects that we have used for stream restorations, as David mentioned. Our program in stream restoration started over 10 years ago.
So what we do is we come in and we try to re-engineer the stream based on the hydrology and hydraulics that the stream has seen after development. Basically, we come in, a computer model is set up, and then we try to redesign the form of the channel. We might actually move the stream, add meanders back in. We might cut back to add some floodplain areas, cut the channels back, and then we'll actually put some structures in the stream. We might put in what are called rock veins, which might be a inverted V that we put in the channel with rocks, and that will actually help to concentrate the flow in the center of the stream and not on the banks. We might use some of the wood because we do have to cut down some trees, obviously, if we're doing earth movement, and we'll try to reuse some of that wood and actually stick it into the bottom of the banks, and that helps to stabilize the channel, and it also provides good habitat for some smaller aquatic creatures.
Most of these projects are basically partnership. We either partnership with the Parks and Recreation Department of the county, because the development services, we don't own these creeks. It's basically the water is owned by the state, but it's either on a county property, which is most of the time Parks and Recreation monitor that because they are close to the greenway, or on private properties.
We actually did a public-private partnership at the Pebble Creek Apartments, which was interesting. They had an issue where they had a severely eroding stream that was threatening some of their buildings. And they had an ugly-looking stream that they were looking to perhaps make more of an amenity. So we actually partnered with that private landowner, and they actually got the engineering consultant and the contractor, and they actually put up the 50% local match money. And Roanoke County served to get the grant funding from the state and administered that grant and took over long-term maintenance.
So as you see here, we're standing in a very vegetated area, and that's one of the main reasons is to make sure that along the creek is enough vegetation to protect the creek, protect from the sediment that leaves either street, parking lot, or development that's happening throughout the county.
The Board of Supervisors has provided funding through our capital improvement program to schedule out to do about a project every 3 years. These projects are paid for 50% out of local funds, and then we submit to the State Department of Environmental Quality to get funding that pays for another 50% of the construction.
So as part of improving the quality of living for the community in general is to improve these kind of deteriorated streams. When we started this project, the first project, actually we used the county crew the drainage crew to do most of the work, but it was quite a bit of difficulties. We had quite a bit of difficulties moving some of these big rocks due to the limitations of our equipment, and we also don't have that many people on the drainage crew. After that, we get a little bit more sophisticated. We had to hire a third party, hire the consultant to help us with the design, as well as the contractors to do the work. As David mentioned, it's a 50-50 program, but the initial work we have to pay for is to identify which creek we need to, which restoration area that needed it the most.
And you come back a few years later, because it does take a few years for the vegetation to grow in, and you can see some of the plants. You can't see it here, but further down you can see some of the yellow wildflowers that are planted, some of the other plants. We tried to plant back with native plants. If you come back in 2 or 3 years, you can start seeing trees growing. Does the channel look more natural? So if our citizens are happy with it, that's certainly a success, but also it's a success if we don't see bare dirt. So we know that we're not getting into so much erosion, and hopefully over time, we'll see improvements in the Roanoke River.
It's a great success because of what you see. People are happy. They are using the streams for fishing. They are using the stream. It's pleasant when you see the water moving. That's a life. So it added life into parks as well as the greenways.
People have asked me before, well, when are we going to be finished with this? And I try to tell them, well, this is not exactly a journey that has a destination. This is just a journey that's never going to end. So this is a program that's going to take place. We're going to make improvements in the future, but we're really never going to reach the final destination, because we want to improve the quality of what we have. The reality is people do impact the environment, and as more and more people come in and we do more development, it's actually going to take more efforts to try to conserve what we do have.